California father is suing a Brentwood private school that his child once attended, claiming he paid his tuition only to have the school push a new curriculum that was racially divisive and hostile to Jewish people. This lawsuit filed against the school, and the head of the school alleges civil rights violations, breach of contract, and also emotional distress. Joining us now is that father, Jerome Eisenberg, and also his attorney, David Pivtorak from the Pivtorak law firm. Thank you for joining us today here, gentlemen. Good to have you in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Jerome, you say this all started in the summer of 2020 after the death of George Floyd, that the school made some radical changes. Tell us what some of those changes were.
In their English curriculum, they pulled Hemingway, the book To Kill a Mockingbird, Shakespeare, and they replaced it with Ibrahim Kandi, the 1619 Project in History, had a seminar on white privilege for the children, how to be anti-racist. They just did a 180 without asking anybody why, or is this okay, or is this what you even want, and told us that we need to capture the hearts and minds of your children in 8th grade so that we can have systemic change moving forward.
Wow. And you were obviously upset. So were other parents. And you are now suing. And in your lawsuit, you claim not only that it was the ideology that changed, but you say that there was actually some pushback because you were of the Jewish faith. Can you explain what the school allegedly did to you and other parents?
Well, what happened was everybody decided to have an affinity group, right? The Black Student Association had an affinity group. The Hispanic had an affinity group, Asian students. So everybody was like branching off in their own turf. So the Jewish families asked for their own affinity group, and we kept getting stonewalled, and then more stonewalled. And then months would go by, and finally they said, no, we have to have like multiple faculty members to handle the Jewish families. And finally, when they said, okay, you can have a group, but you can't talk politics, you can't talk the curriculum, you can only talk about Jewish things. And it just kept multiplying. It's just like this latent anti-Semitism, which they sent out memos during the Palestinian-Israeli dust-up about how to learn more about this situation. Everyone was pro-BDS and anti-Israeli and how Israel is apartheid. And it was enough was enough. Finally, at least for my family, we're tired of being nails. We decided to be a hammer.
All right. And you have this case pending now. To your attorney, real quick, we only have about a minute left, but I do want to, obviously the school says this is a baseless attempt to embarrass them, but you are alleging civil rights. What do you want to see happen? There's unspecified damages, according to reports here. What would be the true victory for your client?
I think what we really want to see is the school go back and change and really remove this critical race theory-based diversity, equity, inclusion apparatus from our schools, because this is an ideology that relies on these myths of secret power and unearned privilege, which is a canard that's been used against the Jews for thousands of years, right? And even though this ideology is primarily anti-white, we see it bleeding into anti-Asian and really anti-Semitic. And what we really want to see is no student to be subjected to the poison of this ideology that tells them that because of the color of their skin, because of their ethnic heritage, that they're somehow bad or an oppressor and evil just because of what they were born into, which is, the promise of the founding of this nation is that no person should be treated in that way.
Well, I know
what we really want to do is remove this from the schools.
Well, I know, Jerome, you say your daughter was kicked out. She's no longer at that school. We hope you continue to update us on your lawsuit and let us know. Keep us posted on what happens there. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And still ahead, John had a prediction that it would survive. Don't doubt him, folks. He was right. A classic dessert that was going to be axed will be making a comeback. Guess what it is?